Hey everybody, Mr. Heath here. I'm going to be going over our next set of notes, which is going to be 1-2, patterns and functions. Before I show you this first line, I wanted to kind of clear something up in regards to what an X value is and what a Y value is. Okay, so if I gave you a set of numbers, and I'm going to put them in a parenthesis, but let's do 1 and 5. Hang on, I'm pulling my screen. Oh, I'm opening up stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I have 1 and 5 is a number set, and then let's say over here I also do 2 and 10. Okay, maybe I just need to quit messing with my pen. There we go. So 1, 5. So we have two numbers, like a set of numbers there, and then I have a second set of numbers next to it, which is 2 and 10. Whenever I'm talking about an X value or X, I'm talking about the first number that comes in that pair. Okay, so for example, let's look at the number set in black. The 1 would be the X value or the input. So those are going to be two different terms that we're going to talk about in this set of notes. But the 1 or the first number is going to be either called the X value or the input value. And the second number is going to be called the Y value or the output. Okay? So in this number set, 1 is X and 5 is Y. When we look at the number set in red, the 2 would be the X or the input value, and the 10 would be the Y or the output value. So I wanted to give you kind of a quick introduction of those two before we even start our notes, because you'll see here. So first, a function is a relationship that assigns exactly one output value for each input value. I want to explain this right now, but I think you need to see a few more bullets before I can give you a good example here. But just know a function is a relationship that assigns exactly one output value for each input value. If a relation is a function, then each input or X value has a unique output or Y value. If you actually look at our number sets above, in black, you'll see that the X is 1 and the Y is 5. So in order to go from 1 to 5, I would need to multiply the X value, multiply 1 times 5 to get our Y value, which is 5. This also rings true, and I did this on purpose for the number set in red. Okay, so if we take the same concept, if our number X is 2, 2 multiplied by 5, just like our number set in black, would give us 10. Okay, so as you can see, the X value or the input directly affects the Y or output value. And we'll see this more play out here in a second. Here's really what I wanted you to see. So a great example of this would be, suppose you earn $7 per hour. There is a relationship or function between the number of hours you work, which would be your input, and the amount of money you earn, which would be the output. And I'm actually in blue going to, and you can do this in your notebook as well, but remember, input is the X value, and the output, if I scroll down just a touch more, there we go, is your Y value. So I'm going to jump screens for 1 second. There we go. So let's just do that. So if we did the last slide says we made $7 an hour. So let's say I'm working at McDonald's and I'm making $7 an hour. So I'm going to write a 7. And then our X value is going to be the number of hours that we work. Okay, so that's going to be our X. The Y value is going to tell you how much is made that day, how much money I make, which would be the Y. Okay, so in order to figure out how much money you make, you have to plug the number of hours in for X. Then you will take the $7 an hour, which is why we have 7. 7 times X, the number of hours worked, will give you Y, which will tell you how much money you made that day. So let's look at it. Let's say I work, let's just start off with 1 hour. I work 1 hour, 7 times X in this case is 1. 7 times 1 gives us an output of 7. So in this case, the Y is going to be 7. If I work 1 hour at $7 an hour, the amount of money I'm going to make that day is going to be $7. Okay? Let's do, in red, let's do another one. So let's say you work 2 hours. 7 times 2 is 14. So if I work 2 hours, I make $14. I'm going to switch over to green and do another one. Okay, if I go, again, $7 an hour times I worked 3 hours, 7 times 3 is going to give me 21. So the X value would be 3, and the output or Y value is going to be 21. And I'm going to do one more just to give you continue and show as many examples as I can. Okay, $7 an hour. Let's say you worked 4 hours the next day. 7 times 4 is going to be 28. And I'm going to write the number set out over here. Your X or input value was 4. And because you worked 4 hours, 4 times $7 an hour is going to be 28, which is your Y value. So I guess what I'm trying to show you here is in a function, it means that whatever number you plug in for X, it's going to affect the Y value in a very specific way. Okay? So just wanted to show you a couple of examples, and I'll jump back to our original screen. Okay? So I don't know if you have all this written yet, so I'm just going to keep that shown up top. Oops. Okay. Just clearing up my screen a little bit here. All right. Okay, so a function rule is an equation that describes a functional relationship. Those examples I just showed you about $7 an hour times the number of hours gives you how much you've made in a day. That's a function rule. 7 times X is going to give you a Y. 7X equals Y. If X is the hours worked, 7 times X going to give you Y, or the money earned. Okay? So also, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I'm sure at some point in your mathematical career you've heard the words independent and dependent variables. The X in this particular situation would be the independent variable, meaning that it can be anything. That X or number of hours worked, it could be 10, it could be 2, it could be, you worked 40 hours a week. That X can change. But the Y value is the dependent variable. It's 100% dependent on what that X is going to be. We can't figure out what y is until we plug in x. Okay, so one last summary. The x is the first number typically in a number set. That x is considered the input, the number that you actually input into the function. And then the y is the output. After you figure that equation, that 7 times x, the answer to that, or the output, is going to be the y. We will continue to talk function rules and functions and whatnot throughout the school year, but I think this is hopefully a good introduction, and we will continue to plug away at it as the semester goes on. Thank you.